Hello everybody, it's Christopher from Things and Stuff. It's been quite a while since I've done any videos, and what I'd like to talk about today is the old school renaissance or old school revival. What is that? Well, it is actually a form of role-playing games that are of ease of use, that have some history based on original Dungeons and Dragons or mechanics that use basic expert. There's also the NuSR, which is a hybrid version of role-playing games that use classic mechanics from Dungeons and Dragons, and then within those lines with modern advantage, disadvantage, or other techniques. Now, one of the conversations that's been going on that I've heard is, well, there's just a bunch of older grognards, older gamers that just play these games, and really not anybody from the younger generation. Well, I'm going to break that ceiling today. With me, I have just 3 of my players that have been playing Bloat Games Zombies 2nd edition, and we will be graduating to the new 3rd edition of Zombies soon. But also, you see the shirt I'm wearing from Eric Bloat Games, Dark Places and Demogorgons. It was the first game I played actually from that company. And over the next few videos, you'll be seeing me talking about various different independent, modern, as well as OSR and NuSR role-playing games. So I'd like you to come with me as we do Things and Stuff together with new people, and I'll be interviewing these young people why they enjoy so much Zombies from Bloat Games. Thank you. Okay everybody, this is Evan, and he is one of my players that is playing Survive This 2nd edition from Bloat Games. Now Evan, one of the questions that comes up periodically, a lot of the young people have only played the most well-known role-playing game, and we call it 5.5 or 5th edition. How does this game compare to your experience compared to playing the Dungeons and Dragons game? What has been your experience playing this game?
Oh, Chris, this thing kicks ass, man. I gotta tell you, like, compared to 5th edition, I honestly prefer this way more. While I did enjoy 5th edition because it's the first role-playing experience I've ever had, the creative freedoms that I'm able to express within this are just, it feels more like I'm in the game rather than playing a game, if that makes sense. So honestly, I've had a blast playing the zombie game. It is honestly awesome. And honestly something that someone in my demographic should be more introduced to, so that way that stigmatism that Dungeons and Dragons is all there is to like role-playing games.
And what is your age range in?
I'm in my 20s, so but I've never heard of this until you introduced me to these types of games. Like, I didn't even know the potential for these kind of games, which is why they're so awesome.
Okay, so one of the questions that comes up a lot of times is do you think is it because old gamers just don't introduce you younger people to these games, or is it just that you weren't aware of these games? And do you think in general, if a lot of this older RPG GMs, DMs would introduce you to the OSR or the NuSR, do you think you would actually continue to enjoy the variety of those games?
Well, I think using my own personal experience, especially with like such a great GM that I've been having, I've been able to actually, you introduced me and we were all ready to try everything. And honestly, if it wasn't for you like showing us the variety and the amount of things that we could have been playing, I probably would have just been like, oh, it's just the Dungeons and Dragons with flavors. But the more you broke it down, the more interesting it is. And I'm just like, wow, like I didn't even know these were options to us. I probably would have, I would probably say that I would definitely try it if you told me about it, rather than I wouldn't try it just because.
Have you found the mechanics of the OSR role-playing games, especially Bloat Games Zombies, to be easy to pick up and understand versus some of the more, mechanically heavy, popular role-playing games that are out there?
I would say yes. Obviously, now this is like my first time really playing with straight with the GM explaining me the rules. So while obviously there's always a learning curve, just like any game that you play in this life, there's always rules. I feel like I was able to pick it up way better than Dungeons and Dragons, especially with like what I'm allowed to do and the mechanics and what I'm capable of doing. I feel like it was way more straightforward, and I feel like I was able to grasp and actually use my brain more than just I swing for 4 in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
What was probably your favorite memory of playing this game so far? Do you have one that stands out?
The last game when everything just went absolutely crazy. One of our teammates made like a crazy like Hail Mary leap, and and they literally fell like 3 stories, and he somehow didn't hurt himself. And then our other friend, he leaped, and he like broke every bone in his body, and right now he's currently crippled.
Do you like the survival mechanic of the game? How you get like a mulligan, you get to try again?
Oh, that mulligan mechanic is awesome. Like being able to just hit the reroll button, especially when Jesus, we probably would have died at least 4 or 5 times by now. It's definitely saved us by doing
So, and to conclude your part of the interview, would you recommend Bloat Games survive this series of games, including the zombies?
Yeah, I actually think as far as beginners, this is probably the best one to recommend for newcomers who want to try this. Especially, I say even if you've never tried one, I say just try this one out. Worst case, you don't like it, you don't like it. But like genuinely, I think you could have a good time, especially with a couple buddies. I feel like it's fun, especially if we live in an age right now where everything's kind of expensive. This is honestly something that isn't inexpensive, and everyone can get down with. If you can more than one friend.
Do you like the fact that all the rules are basically in one rule book and you don't have to buy multiple books?
Absolutely. I think being able to just go through one book rather than I gotta look up, buy 3 copies of one book to understand basic mechanics or the mechanics for certain things is definitely like this is nice by far.
Okay, well thank you, Evan. We appreciate your input and we look forward to you having a great time tonight in our games, and we recommend you give Eric Bloat's games a chance.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for.
Okay, we're back again, and here we have Ivana, one of my players here in Southern California, who has actually been enjoying the OSR quite immensely, and she actually has played a lot of what you call complex, we call the McDonald's of role-playing games, and we all know what that big game is in the room. Ivana, based on that, the concept of not having to worry about feats or skills or all that, even though there are skills in this game, it's not to the complexity level of a certain game that's well known. We call the concept rulings versus rules. How was that for you the first time you experienced it?
It was kind of a life changer, and I would say that once I even saw the character sheet itself as well, just being able to do a character sheet in the, like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many people were there, was actually very interesting in a sense of this was better. I don't need 5 pages in order to describe what I have to do, my spells or any of that stuff. With this one specifically, obviously there's no spells or anything like that, so it does give you a different outlook on things as well, because it's more survival. So I did like that a lot more as well, for sure.
Okay. Now one of the other things, you're in your 20s,
Yes.
so you are of the younger demographic. So a lot of us old grognards who are hesitant to introduce the OSR, the NuSR, to players, do you think that it actually would fit a younger demographic?
I think 100% it would. Sometimes when I see people, if I'm in a card shop or anything and they have like D&D and stuff like that, I'm always very hesitant of being like, hey, there's actually more out there than just D&D. And sometimes I have started conversations with that, and there actually have been a situation where someone was actually very interested. I've been in situations where they're like, oh really? There's like actually more? So also all of my group of friends, I actually kind of brought them in from our great GM as well. So it's I think 100% people would eat it up like like crazy.
So now specifically, this is your first OSR game you ever played.
Yes.
Was Bloat Games survived this system, and we're playing the zombies version.
Yes.
Did it feel like you were terrified at times when you play the game? Does the game give the feel of reality of zombies?
Yes. So while playing the game, there was always moments where you're like literally biting your nails. You're the edge of your seat. You're really kind of contemplating, is somebody gonna survive? It's like one of our other players as well actually perished in the first round of the game. So that was very eventful because when you're playing D&D or other games, you don't really die right away. So knowing that you can die at any moment is really awesome. I think that brings more excitement and just doesn't let you leech onto your character for sure.
One of the things that people have said to me when I've talked about OSR or NuSR is, oh, well, it's so much more deadly. So there's no way you can have a story develop. What do you think of that? Do you think that's true, or have you experienced a story playing this game?
I think with how OSR works and also this amazing game has worked for us, it has allowed us to actually explore more of our creativity in the sense of not really using a textbook kind of thing to actually learn or even say, oh, I have to do this specific thing. So as a group, we're all different, obviously. So we're able to bring out our certain parts of us that you wouldn't be able to with other games. So I did think that was actually very storytelling in a sense. Even in the book, it does have where you can actually roll for backgrounds. We had a situation where one of our teammates was a prostitute, and he's a male, so that was actually very fun. Be able to see that and be able to explore that all together and kind of envision it together as well, and just kind of make up like the story as well.
How do you feel about having us older GMs that have been around since the 1980s or 1970s introducing the younger generation to these style of role-playing games? Do you think it's something that us older GMs should not be hesitant to reach out to younger gen?
100%. I think especially with you as well, it has opened us up for a lot more different games, a lot of like underdog games as well, like especially this one right here that we have. It has opened our eyes in a good way. I think for us as well, we've been like, everything that we get shown, we're like, yes, we want to play that. Like, yes, I want to play like Space 1999, even though I didn't grow up around that time and I didn't watch a TV series, something like that. There's like, it's just, the universe is just limitless. It's universal. So I agree that you should ask us for sure.
How did you find the rules? Were they easier to pick up than modern tech? Like, we say like the big game that everybody talks about, where you have feats and skills and all this other things. And there's nothing wrong with that game. It obviously has its popularity, and we're not putting it down.
Correct.
But there is some place, I think, for younger players that feel intimidated by the amount of rules that some of the bigger name games. How did you find the rules easy to pick up with this one?
It was actually, once we first started playing, I didn't have to have like, I was trying to get used to not having everything next to me. So having that as well really helped out with the rules and understanding things, especially because everybody does learn differently. So everyone was able to pick it up pretty quickly. And just, I mean, this is a very thin book compared to like other books that are like really thick. And you're constantly reading, trying to figure out where things are. And the way that the book is written as well actually helps a lot. Being able to like, okay, let me like take a minute, look up what I need, and we're able to like, oh, that's how you do it. And then keep playing. It doesn't take like, we need to cut off for 30 minutes and then get back into the game.
So concluding your part of the interview, the one thing I'd like to ask is, if you were to tell your friends about Bloat Games, their games,
Yes.
Where would you give them on a scale from 1 to 10?
10.
10?
100% 10. Even though maybe it's, maybe because it's my first one, but even then, even though I've been introduced to different ones, I think even the zombie aspect of this specific game has been very, very fun. I really like how we can't get attached to our characters, and you have to be like more cautious on what you have to do in order not to die. Is very fun. It really puts you in. So I did like that, yes.
And cost-wise, is that also another reason
That's
that you like?
Very, very big factor. what I did notice is that also there's PDF versions, there's copy, and even purchasing the copy it's really inexpensive. It's really helpful, especially if anybody in different situations and stuff like that, and you want to get into a game, you don't have to spend $50 to just try to get the rules. So this is awesome.
Okay, well, thank you, Ivana, for your input, and we look forward to many years of you learning the OSR and NuSR types of role-playing games.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, this is Christopher from Things and Stuff, continuing our interview about Bloat Games Zombies. One of my players here is Neo, and he's also new to role-playing games, and this is one of his first experiences, and he's holding the latest copies of Survive This Zombies by Bloat Games Ultimate Edition, which we'll eventually gravitate to when we finish our campaign. Neil, what has been your experience with role-playing as a younger player with an older GM playing OSR style RPGs?
So far I would say it's been pretty fun. I had some idea of what to expect when starting this from just seeing clips online of other type of role-play games that they have out there. But I would say I had a lot more fun than I expected.
How did you find the rules? Were they hard to pick up and understand?
I would say the rules were pretty simple. It was pretty easy to read and be able to get into practice.
Would you encourage people to try this game from Bloat Games?
Yeah, I would say I encourage it. I feel like it was a good place to start for me, and I would probably recommend others to try it out.
Now, your age demographic usually doesn't always fit the OSR. There's an urban legend that only older gamers like me, I'm almost 60 years old, and roughly what age range are you in?
For me right now, I'm in my early 20s.
Okay. Do you think these games would be fun for people in their 20s?
I do believe so. I think there's a lot of people looking for, new things to try out and experience, and I feel like this is one of those things that you might try it not looking, like, oh, I might not have this much fun, then you might end up liking it more than you think.
Yes. So, and I, as your GM, has enjoyed watching you blossom as a first-time player. And, what is kind of neat for me is introducing, breaking the ceiling that people think, oh, the older generation can't introduce the younger generation, because really your generation will continue this hobby. And if we don't reach out and not worry about gatekeeping or things like that, the possibilities are endless. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, Neo, I want to thank you for your time, and we look forward to you experiencing. And what do you think of Bloat Games Zombies?
It's been really fun. I've completely enjoyed it so far, and I look forward to playing it more.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, folks, as you saw, it was a little windy out there, wasn't it? But that's the excitement of the OSR. It always carries you away into places and things you've never thought to experience. The OSR and the NuSR is the future, and the young people that you saw today are the new way that we're going forward. Don't gatekeep. If you're an old grognard like me, be excited. Bring them into the hobby. Introduce them to Bloat Games. Introduce them to the other games in the OSR. Just whatever you do, have fun. Enjoy it. They enjoy it too. What a great group of players I have. And it's just as I said, I broke that ceiling and that myth that people that are the younger generation won't play these games. They will. And you just heard what they said. And I just want to thank Bloat Games and remind people that I started off with Eric Bloat's Dark Places and Demogorgons. Another great game that you can play from Bloat Games. Thank you, Eric Bloat, for making these games and allowing the opportunity of an entire generation to try something different and new. And with that, I'm saying goodbye until we do some more things and stuff.